Okay, in this short video I'd like to show you a few tips on how to install our units and our ducting systems, where to begin, basically the sequence of events, how we're doing it. Of course, take it only as a recommendation. Everybody has its own system, everybody does it a little bit differently, so this is just us helping out. First of all, you need to have the building site ready. That means through the wall openings, all of the openings through the outside envelopes, etc. We provide every complete system with blueprints. That means we will help you out, and this is done in cooperation with you, with either the architect or the builder. The runs, where they're supposed to go, what is possible to do on a building site. In general, we started the installation itself in the utility room with the placement of the manifolds. We only place the manifolds there, and then we actually start at the opposite side. So this is our little recommendation: always start at the boots or exhaust or suction elements, as you put it. I'm gonna show just very briefly how we're doing it. I got this little bit unfinished, so basically those runs, those 3-inch pipes, they do fit inside of our manifolds like this. We recommend to use the cell tapes, which are absolutely fantastic. It is a pretty bulletproof installation. There's no need to do anything else or use any kind of O-rings. It's just a little different way of doing it. Basically, this is what we do. It's absolutely airtight, as we say, bulletproof. Now there is several different ways you can actually do the boot at the end. You can leave it like it is, you can put it in the wall, you can actually use these straps to put it firmly. It really depends on each building site, what is the construction type, how the ceiling is done, etc. Here in Europe we use a lot of these metal frames for the drywall. In the United States it's done a little bit differently, but what we like to do, just to leave this like you see it right now for the drywall people to actually place it where they need. Okay, so we're not dictating the exact position, it just needs to make sense aesthetically, etc. You can leave it like it is, they can move it, and then when they actually closing everything up, they create a hole and they put this in the hole. This color, it's exactly the thickness of a drywall, and you put a screw directly to the body of the boot, and it's done. I'm gonna show you how it looks like. So I'm gonna ask you to follow me. Okay. Oops. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So when you finish with what I just described in the other room, it's going to look like this. The booth, it's over there. You're going to finish your plastering, or whatever it's called. Then you're going to put a painting on it. Then the ground diffusers, and they fit with these springs perfectly in there. So there is absolutely nothing else. It's beautifully flushed, and that's all that needs to be done. You can always take them out if you need to. You can adjust the amount of air that will be allowed through the opening, because this is adjustable. So again, you're just gonna do this, and it's pretty much done. So now we're gonna move over to the utility room. Hiki. Alright, follow me. Okay, in the utility room, you see those manifolds that I described at the beginning, that our guys actually put those in as a first thing before they start with those runs. And then they go from the far side of the houses, from the home, and they just do the runs, and they cutting the pipes as they need to. So at the end you have a very little waste. That's the reason why they like to use it from the end and go this way. You see this adjustable manifold, this is the supply manifold, and you see this another manifold over here. It doesn't have those flaps to be adjusted, so this is the suction side. Okay, for all of those connections, as you can see over here as well, those are basically the runs that they needed to be what do you call it, extended. So we use those isocell tapes. They are just absolutely fantastic. We connect them, we tape this, and it works just fine. It's perfect. These manifolds you see over here, this is just an example. We have few different models. What tend to be very popular are supply manifolds. We have a little ones. They still are 12 ports. They have a little cone in the middle to help with the equalization of the pressure, and those adjustable valves, they are on demand, so you actually put as many as you need. Those ports you're not going to use, you're going to cap. This is basically how it's done. Thank you. We're going to be talking about the booster switches, which are very easy, but it needs to be explained just a little bit. So the unit has ability to run on booster mode by simply accepting a signal from non-potential switches. What it means, and I'll show it to you right now. Basically, all you need to do is to run a wire, 3-length wire, throughout all of the places that requires booster operation. That means restroom, bathroom, kitchen, etc. You can run it in parallel and just bring one wire back, or you can run to each of those locations individually and bring all of those wires here. The reason why you have 3 wires in there, it's a non-potential, so there's no voltage, and there's only very low voltage. It's 3 volts, I believe, for the LED light, which is built in to the monetary switch. All you need to do is to connect all of these wires. If they come back to the utility room, all of them together in such a manner that it would be connected in parallel. That means anywhere you're gonna press the booster switch, it will close the circuit. Then you have one wire that you run to the unit and you will connect it. I will show you the physical connection on our another installation where the unit is already installed. This is pretty much roughed in the duct system, and we don't have the unit yet. The booster switches are placed in all these locations. I'm going to show you. Now here you're going to see a very hardly working Czech contractor man. Okay, yeah, it's right here. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So if we go to a bathroom, for instance, you're always going to see the wire. Okay, and this goes through every place that needs exhaust. So it's here. This is going to be a kitchen area. Okay. So you see you have that wire everywhere. It's pretty simple. You're going to place it in the same location like every other switches, and it's a very easy operation. The rest I'm going to show you on the actual unit. This is so far for the wiring. Now here we are in our showroom, and I will just continue the explanation of the wiring of those booster switches as I started at the job site. So as I said, once you have your unit in place, then you have the booster switch wires brought into place. This is the cover. Here in this building we have 2 floors. Each floor has a few different areas which needs to use the booster operation. So we have them connected and those 2 floors come in together. So we just connect it as this. But each one of those wires are actually connected to about 3 different spots. So you connect it to the provided connector and plug it in appropriate connector on the unit itself. Those new units we supply has description of everything on this side. You don't see it on this one because it's one of the earliest models. Okay, once those booster switches are connected, again there's no voltage. You don't have to worry about getting hurt. It's absolutely safe. Then all you need to do is to press any of those non-potential monetary switches in any of those bathrooms, and it works. I'll show you that so you can follow me. Right now the unit run on 2nd speed, and we're gonna go to a bathroom. This is a showroom. This is the kind of cool thing we have here. Is a passive house. We have a description of the floor, basically structure. So this is shown how the floor is constructed. We have this in the walls also and in the ceilings. But you can come in and follow me. So these are our bathrooms, and as I described, every bathroom has a booster switch. So it looks like this. Now we supply those booster switches with the LED light in the middle, and when I put it right here and I just press it like this, you can see it went all the way to speed 4. When I press it again, it returns to original setting. Now the booster time, it's set in default to 20 minutes. This can be changed if you'd like to. In 20 minutes, the unit will go back to its original operation. If for any reason you decided to stop it, anytime within those 20 minutes, you can push again and press any of those booster switches in a house, and it will stop the booster operation and it goes back to its original settings right away. If you hold the booster switch for more than 3 seconds, let's say in a kitchen area, it will run this booster operation for 2 hours. And again, you can stop it anytime. You can bring it back to its original setting. If the unit was off as an original setting, that means it's a beautiful springtime outside, there's no reason you shouldn't open your windows and shut down the ventilation system. You still have full operation of those boosters. I'm gonna show it to you. So I'm gonna shut the unit down. Okay. What you heard, well, the flaps closing up the air ducts. So there is no possibility of air freely entering the house. But let's say this, what you will use in those times when there's a nice weather outside, and I go to the bathroom, and all I want to, I'll be very quiet. See, the unit starts immediately, regular operation. It gets the exhaust going for a predetermined amount of time, and then it shuts down again. If I do it manually, I'll do it like this, and I'll press the button again here. See, I shut it down. So there's no need to go and mess with the controls. Everything can be operated by simple switches. We'd like to give you the opportunity to have a full control in a really fancy way but it's not really necessary for everyday operation. In fact, I actually prefer, and you don't even know about it, you will know that the unit is not running by excessive humidity buildup inside and maybe a condensation on the windows, but if it's running correctly, you should never worry about it. When it's all balanced and adjusted and commissioned, it should be put in constant operation, and there is no need to mess with that every day. Of course, you have a guest coming to your house. If you have 10 people, then you may have a need to increase the airspeed, but that's about it, by my opinion. So I will switch it on again, and I'll forget it. Okay, thank you. Okay, now just a few words and few tips about the intake and the exhaust air from outside and back to outside. What we like to use is very well insulated ducting. You need to have as short of a run as possible. So as you can see, this is go through the exterior wall, then it goes very short run over here. This is the exhaust from the unit, they mark it. Then the intake of the fresh air, it's even shorter. So it goes from here, right here. This is where the unit will be placed. Reason why it's up there, because we are partially submerged, or how do you say it, below ground. So the ground, it's about this high. Okay. Now just a few hints. If you use these type of ducts, never press them. You always have to leave them as free as possible. If you try to put them on the wall and you use straps, for instance, and you're gonna cause this kind of effect, what happens with the mineral or glass wool, then it's inside, it completely loses its insulation property. So when you press this against the inner part, you will have a lot of condensation over here, because the ducting system has declared property only in free form. This is the reason why we do recommend to use EPP ducts instead of this. The disadvantage of those EPP pipes, it's absolutely ridiculous, ridiculously overpriced at this moment, and so it's all up to the client if he's willing to invest a little bit more money into a well-insulated duct. This will work, however. This works just fine, but you just have to follow these few rules. Basically, never push this, okay? Never try to fit it in the wall, because you will just press it, and there will be lots of condensation going on. And again, because we are inside of the building, this is a heated environment, and if you are in a climate zone that does have freezing temperatures, then you should try to minimize the length of these incoming and outgoing ducts. Next thing you see here, because as you can see we have 4 of these ducts, we really like to use them as a first connection to those manifolds. Reason being, it has a great acoustic damping capabilities. So let's say this is the supply to the house. As you can see, we have about 3 meters long flexible duct that damn pretty much all of the noise otherwise generated into the duct. Every unit has some noise, so we're trying to minimize it as much as we can to make it as comfortable for the occupants as possible. So these are just a few tips around how to connect the unit to the outside elements, and how to basically bring the fresh air and the stale air to the house and from the house. Okay, there are a few more tips I'd like to give you regarding the installation of our duct system. We like to keep it somewhat tight and organized. Of course, it's not something that will be absolutely perfect. It never is. But what we like to use, just a few tips to you. If you have those runs connecting and it's more of them together, we like to use these straps, as you can see it here. that runs from one joist to another, and basically keep all of those runs in position along the way. I think it's a very simple thing. This is a readily available item everywhere in America, in any Home Depot. It's very cheap and very simple. There's no need to do anything fancy. And this is gonna hold all of those runs nicely. Otherwise, we're using typical ties, like the electrical ties, to hold those runs together. Those that are otherwise loose. So very simple. Trying to not overcomplicate things. There's plenty of pipes, of course, but in these really airtight homes, it's absolutely necessary to do so to install the ventilation system. So this is about it. Okay, in this short tip, I'd like to show you how to basically turn on the unit. I did a short video a few months ago, last winter time, about how to commission the unit, how to switch it on for the first time, but we never actually show in detail the necessary items that you will need. It's very simple, and I'd like to show it this way. So I put it right here. All you see, it's actually supplied with the unit as a standard equipment. So you have the power cord. In the United States, it is now supplied with a 110 volt power cord. It's a standard native 110 volt version. Then you have provided router. This is something that you can or you don't have to use, but if you do have your own router, or if the client has a router in the home, it is advised to connect the unit directly to the router. It's a power supply for the router, and of course it's the provided tablet PC. Also what we have, it's a LAN cable which connects the router to the unit. So what I like to do is to connect the router. You always plug in the yellow socket, and we can connect the power to it. It's very simple. Okay. Now what we do, we place, okay, this is just for demonstration purposes, so we'll just place the router over here. I will plug the LAN cable over to this circuit. I'm gonna plug in the power supply into a wall outlet. Then I'm gonna grab the power cable, typical computer end, plug it in over here, and I plug this into a power outlet as well. Also what we have, it's the wiring from those booster switches we were describing in the other video. So we'll plug it in. And this really what the first initial operation should look like. Remember, I plug the router as a first thing. We need to start the router before. Then there is a switch over here. When you press the switch, the unit will go into its initial operation, and it goes to its nominal airflow immediately. That's it. Unit starts to work. It should, at least. When it leaves our assembly line, it's fully tested. It's tested against leakage of water. It is tested in terms of full functionality. Then it's left into a fully operational mode. So when you turn it on for the first time, it will initialize itself, and it should start work immediately. So you don't have any worries about it. Then you can mess with it. You can adjust the airflow, etc. All the other aspects that can be adjusted. But just for the ease of use, it should work right after you switch it on, and this way I think it's the easiest. to help you out with the installation. So thank you. Okay, now when we know how to connect the electrical aspect of the unit, I'd like to just talk about the connections. You don't see the labeling on those connectors. I will show you that in our assembly line later on. But basically you have 4 connections. The reason why they're on the side is maybe a little unorthodox, but in most of the installations we actually have the fresh air, which is this connection. That means on the left bottom side of the unit, that's the fresh air intake from outside. We have it directly through the wall, very short run. Then on the opposite side from that, it's the waste air to outside. Again, this is a little bit different in this building of ours, but otherwise it goes straight out again, so very short run. Then you have those 2 connections on the top. On the right top side you have the waste air from the bathrooms, restrooms, kitchen, etc. On this side, on the fresh air side, you have the supply of the fresh air to the building. So fresh air in from outside, fresh air to the building, waste air to outside, waste air from the building. On the bottom there's one more important aspect, is the condensation hose. Okay, so it is connected to this little outlet over here. We do recommend, we don't have it here, but we supply this with a little ring that you can actually tie down, and it's not gonna fall out. If you're not gonna use that, it can happen this, and you may actually flood the utility room. Okay, those are all connections. I'd like to mention this little bracket over here as well. This is important to place it on a wall because it holds the unit from anybody being able to take it away from the wall. The reason why we have it there, because of the filter chambers. They are very tight and they are a little hard to open. So the way we're describing or recommending it, starting on one side, you just grab it like this, pull it over here, and then it goes. You may need to use a little more force at the beginning. Then you have the filters over here. Okay, and again I will close it on one side, second side. That's about it. This is the filter for the waste side from the house. And again, this, it's just a lock. What actually is sealing, it's this surface over here that goes against this memory foam. It's actually PVC. This is made in Germany, this material. So this is what seals, okay, not this. This is just a lock to hold it in position. So this is easy. Then you reach the lock, you need to go against the force of the lock. That's it. This filter here, it's only for the bypass feature, so it will usually be very clean because you will use it only if the bypass is engaged. That is about it. If you have any questions whatsoever, call us, write us email, you can do whatever you want. We will be more than happy to answer and possibly provide a short video to your topic. Thank you.